This sample program from the textbook demonstrates a couple of things. First of all, it uses a Boolean flag, and you'll notice in here we have a Boolean variable called good score, which is initially assigned the value of true. So there's some constants which represent the minimum scores. There's an integer variable test score, which is going to be entered by the user. And we're determining what's going to be a letter grade, so grade is going to hold a character, and then we have our good score. I'm going to demonstrate the use of a flag, and the other thing we're going to talk about here is a trailing else. In the earlier videos and in the textbook, you've seen if-else-if statements so far. The else part here is actually optional. But if-else-if statements do generally have else statements. The one thing that you'll notice is the word else is on a line by itself. You never want to put any type of Boolean expression out here, following the else. It's not allowed. So just be careful of that. So what's going to happen here if the test score is greater than the minimum A score, the grade will be assigned the value of A. If it's greater than or equal to the minimum B score, grade will be assigned the value of B. And the same thing for C, D, and F. And what the else is doing here is it's going to denote that the score was below a 0. Right? If it doesn't fit into any of these categories, right, it's not greater than or equal to 90, 80, 70, 60, and 0, it's going to be a negative value, so it'll set the flag to false. And flags are good in this case as far as displaying. So if the good score, now remember that's a Boolean, it's going to be true or false. If it's true, it'll display the grade. If this is false, it'll go into the else statement and say the score cannot be below 0. So what's happening here, you have to remember that initially the Boolean variable is set to true. So if you run this program with, let's say, a 95, this is going to be true. The grade is going to be set to A. It's going to leave the if-else structure, and then good score will have a true in it from up here, and it'll display your grade. So let me run that. So if I enter 95, it'll say the grade is an A. Right? If I run it and I enter 75, it'll say the grade is a C. Because if I enter 75, this will be false, this will be false, this will be true, the grade will be set to C, and then it'll leave the if-else structure. Good score is still true, and it'll display the grade. Now if I put in a negative value like -3, this is going to be false, 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 and then it'll go into the else. It'll set good score to false. So in my if statement, if false, and whenever this evaluates to false, you have to go into the else, and it'll just say the score cannot be below 0. So here, I'm going to enter -2, and it'll say the score cannot be below 0. So again, in this sample program, we're demonstrating a couple of things. We're demonstrating, the use of a flag, which is really just a Boolean variable, and also demonstrating the use of the else statement in an if-else-if structure.